10 years to Doomsday. Can ChatGPT make movie posters like the best? I spent many misspent hours in my youth watching reruns of classic, campy, over the top science fiction and horror movies from the 1950s. They were great. They had the most wonderful posters, the greatest titles. They were really exciting. They were fun. I even got to watch the classic The Thing from Another World, the 1951 movie that started the entire craze. They were just great. I loved them. I still love them. The Thing from Another World had a famous classic line that sort of summarized the paranoia and fears of the time. Watch the skies everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies. The champions of making these movies was a small studio called American International Pictures, AIP. It was a project of two guys. Sam Z. Arkoff is a guy with a cigar, business guy, very blunt guy, I think, from what I've read. And his partner, James Nicholson, the guy who's smiling. That's the sales and marketing guy. He was the genius who came up with these spectacular titles, Invasion of the Saucer Men, great taglines, over the top, and wonderful, wonderful posters. These posters were great. If only the movies were like the posters. They drew in millions of teenagers who went to these drive-in movies and just ate this stuff up. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to give you a quote from Sam Arkoff about these movies and their wonderful marketing. To make clear to some of you who may not be familiar with film, movies used to be physical film. They had pictures on them, and they had these holes on the side, the sprocket holes, that were used to feed them through a completely mechanical movie projector, not a computer in sight. This is Sam Z. Arkoff's famous quote. Exhibitors would come up to me and say, "Sam, if we could just punch sprocket holes in the campaign," and throw the film away. Wonderful titles, great taglines, absolutely spectacular posters. Movies, not so much. I've seen ChatGPT get a lot better. I've been experimenting with AI image generation for my business, for my personal life, for a couple years now. And it's been a real pain. I have to try like 20 times, and maybe one time out of 20 or something like that, I'll get an image I can use. It's often not really what I want. I can't get the thing to change the way I want. It's not like talking to a human illustrator. But now, ChatGPT is much better. Here I decided I wanted to make, for fun, a fake movie. 10 Years to Doomsday. I gave the title. I said I want the usual dashing young scientist, the beautiful lab assistant, and the lantern-jawed military guy who never shows any fear. And 1 minute later, couple sentence query, this is what I got. It's almost perfect. In fact, it's almost identical to the kind of style from the 1950s. I looked at it and said, wow, that girl is really pretty, but it's a little over the top for our era. Maybe someone who looks a little more professional. I asked it to do her a little more professional, like a real lab assistant. One query, couple sentences, bang, 1 minute. Excellent. I looked at that and I said, well, maybe we can make her a little sexier, just not that over-the-top 50s movie poster. One query, this is what I got. Again, exactly what I was looking for. Now, this is not perfect. You can see up here, if you weren't paying attention, the text isn't quite right. This is a common problem with AI image generation. You get, like here, even characters that aren't in the English language. You can see the upside down backwards L. There is no character like that in English. And this weird splotch on top of the U. Also something you don't see in real English. Usually what I have to do with this is go in with an image editor, blank it out, find the right font to match it, go through a whole struggling process that takes several minutes, sometimes even longer, to get rid of this. Here, I said, please get rid of it. Bang, almost perfect. It does leave a couple spaces there. The upside down backwards L is gone. The weird splotch on top of the U is gone. It's almost right. I could go in with an image editor, add a little bit of white, dots or whatever for the U and the R, and it would be perfect. It would take me only a few seconds. One request, 1 minute for it to give me a new image, keeping everything else the same. I mentioned keeping everything else the same because in the past this is often a problem. You get what you ask for sometimes and it changes something totally. Not this. ChatGPT has got that pretty well beaten. So what's the conclusion here? What is likely here? This is really good. The jobs of a lot of graphic artists, people who do posters for low budget movies, even blockbuster movies, are in the crosshairs. At best, there's going to be a lot of changes in how people do art. Maybe a lot of jobs are going to get eliminated. And it's a suggestion of what might be coming in other areas like computer programming, like scientific research, many, many areas which are now done by highly paid, skilled professionals. Now, if you're paying close attention, you will have noticed that there was an error here. The thumb doesn't look like most people's thumbs. This took me a little longer. I had to do 2 questions, a couple iterations, about 5 minutes to fix it. Bang. Here you go. It looks great. Excellent. So what should you do? Well, it may literally be 10 months to Doomsday for a lot of graphic artists, people who do posters for low-budget movies, and other people. And what's going to come for most of us who are not artists? Who knows? Is AI the savior or the doom of humanity? Maybe a mix of both. I'll leave you with a famous line from The Thing from Another World. Watch the skies for AI drones. Watch the internet to see where the technology is going. Don't get caught off guard by these leaps forward that we very well be seeing right now and in the near future.